Hey everybody, this is Stephen with Junior Achievement of North Florida with another JA Career Speaker Series. Today we have Kelly from Harbor View, and we're just so excited to learn a little bit more about her life. And so, Kelly, go ahead and introduce yourself. Any fun personal facts? Where are you from?
My name is Kelly. I'm from actually South America originally, Guyana. We're a little small country right above Brazil between Venezuela and Suriname. A
So
little
cool.
geography for you guys. um, I moved here for tertiary education because there wasn't much opportunity back home. So I went
Mm.
to Jacksonville University, double majored in economics and marketing. A little fun fact, although Guyana is in South America, we're actually Caribbean.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Learn something new every single day. Well, thanks so much for sharing a little bit about yourself. Um, let's go into the framework of when you were in high school. Explain, what did you want to do like after high school? Did you know that you were going to pursue education or like enter into the workforce? What was kind of your plan then?
Well, growing up with a Caribbean household, it was always very prominent that you do go on to tertiary education because
Mm,
most of the jobs and everything that's accessible, that's good and paying job and wise, it's you need like a higher educational system for that because
yeah.
a basic secondary education wouldn't really cut it. So yeah, it was always instilled in me like, okay, you got to go to university now. And
Right.
so I always knew that I had that in mind. But when I started university, I didn't really like it was new. I came to a different country. It was very
Yeah.
like shocking, but a good transition overall, I would say.
Yeah. And so then what led you to Jacksonville University? Do you have family here, or yeah, what led you to
Well,
Florida?
well, my mom is in New York, but
Okay.
my brother is in Florida, and
Okay.
I'm not a cold person. I come from the tropics. I was not
Yes.
gonna go to New York, and so I really wanted to find somewhere closer in terms of because also Guyana is really small, and my school was really
Mm,
small too. So I didn't want to like jump into a 600, like a 60,000 university
right.
student, and so I checked Florida for like a little liberal arts because they're generally smaller in size, and I
Okay.
found JU and they're like a green campus and I absolutely am an environmental nut. And so I'm like, okay, maybe let's go there.
Yeah. Well,
That's how
that's
I ended up
awesome.
there.
Okay. So then what are your majors, and then like what go through your experience through college? Like, did you know exactly what you wanted to do, or did you kind of figure it out as you went on?
I did not know exactly what I
Okay.
wanted to do. Yeah, it was all a learning process. Being international too, it was like a little culture shock, I would say.
Mm,
Coming here for the first time, I didn't really know what things were. Like I couldn't go to the local market and buy fruits and vegetables and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, let's just go to the supermarket, but it's not as spread, so you had to like really adapt in that way. But I started with marketing. That was my first major
Okay.
because I was little. I know I wanted to do business. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs. I knew I had a business mind.
Mm,
And so marketing was interesting to me because I really wanted to learn about consumer psychology and buying behavior. But I did an internship actually in New York in 2019, and I found like I have a really fond interest in markets and just how the economy operates. And so I like went back to JU and I'm like, okay, economics double major, let's go. And I loved it ever since then.
oh, that's awesome. Okay. So you went through a transition because you're no longer a marketing major, correct?
I'm both. I did both. I did both. I
Okay,
did
got it.
marketing
Okay.
and yeah,
Okay, so marketing and economics. Okay, so
yeah.
but you were kind of, as you progressed through college, you're like, all right, I'm trying to figure out like my passions and kind of what I'm good at.
Yeah,
But
it's all really a learning process. As you
mm,
grow older too, you start to figure out who you really are and what you really
yeah,
like. And with internships, you get exposure to different industries and classes,
yep,
and so you really start to get your gears going about okay, is this a good fit for me? Do I want to do this in the future? And you could be like 25 years down the line too, you might always want to switch, and that's okay. Like that's part of
yep.
life.
What year are you, Kelly?
I graduated actually in
Okay.
May
Oh,
this
wow.
year.
Congratulations.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So
Thank you.
you experienced JU in a college experience before COVID, but then it sounds like your senior year or like your junior going into senior year, came to an abrupt halt with 2020 and COVID. So kind of explain the importance and like what you did to kind of adapt to everything, and maybe even what JU did as well.
Well, yeah, that was like the whole coronavirus was shocking for everybody,
Yeah.
and it really upset like the whole learning environment.
Yep.
And I mentioned that because I'm international too, I actually had to go back home to my
Okay.
country. So it
Wow.
wasn't, thank God, it wasn't like a major time difference. It's just an hour with daylight savings.
Hmm.
So it was manageable in that regard. But it transitioned basically from in person to fully online,
Yeah.
like with a click of a finger. And for some people, it was really hard to transition from that because they learn better within a face-to-face environment as opposed to virtual.
Hmm.
But I usually did like one hybrid class a semester too, so I was a little bit acclimated to the virtual setting,
Okay.
and so it wasn't too hard for me to switch over. But it was definitely a challenge because I'm a very social person, and I didn't get to see my friends. I didn't
Yeah.
even get to see my family because when I went
Oh,
home, it was like, well, I have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and even after that, it's like
right.
a risk. So it was really hard to kind of turn yourself into this introverted figure. But
Mhm.
I mean, adapting to it really I learned a lot because it
Yeah.
was all on me to be diligent, get my work done on time because I'm not at school, I'm not attending classes in person. Like I can easily text or be on the phone during class, but I mean, that misses the whole premise of education.
Yeah.
So it's really like a personal journey that you need to also take too. It's like, this is what I want to do.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And sometimes it just takes a lot of perseverance to push through. And of course, we can look back and hopefully learn from the mistakes that we made, but then also learn from the triumphs that we've made. So it's always a really important life lesson, no matter the experience that you have. Now you're interning with Harborview. So how exactly did you hear about this investment bank, and kind of like why did you choose to like per se remain in Jacksonville?
Well, it was true. I keep hearing people saying that usually where you go to school, you get acclimated, and that's where usually you live. I
Yeah.
didn't really think about it. I'm like, okay, because I want to travel. I'm young. I'm like
Yeah.
spirited. But yeah, I kind of just was always drawn. They make a lot of sense. I'm drawn to Jacksonville. I'm familiar with the area.
Hmm.
And so I went to JU. JU has close ties to Harborview.
Okay.
And so through or what you call a university portal, we
Okay.
applied and I got, I mean, I spoke to them and I'm culturally diverse and I'm like from JU, I'm local. And so they recognized that, okay, I was also passionate about the financial industry. And so it was really through JU though that I found out about Harborview, but
Okay.
love it.
Well, and that's awesome that you're using your resources that you've gone through with JU and your college
Yeah.
experience to connect you to a potential job and obviously internship right after. I mean, that's so important to utilize those resources.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And LinkedIn to the alumni
mm,
network is a
yep.
really good resource to utilize.
All right. So now you are in the midst of your internship, but you're actually about to end it. So how has this internship changed or helped solidify your perspective about the investment banking industry? And do you want to stick with it, or do you think you're going to go through another path?
Well, I've had the previous internship before. That was still in investment banking, but that was at
Okay.
a hedge fund. This
Okay.
is a merger and acquisition, so kind of two different subsectors of the same industry. So
Got
it
it.
was really good to get a different perspective, mostly like the sell side. I was
Mm,
usually on the buy side, so now I have a more rounded overview of what the industrial banking sector is like, and I do love it. It is people forward, and the team at
mm,
Harborview is great, and it's like amazing. I would say though that I realized though that in my research, I'm right now part of the Harborview Industrial Technology team,
okay.
and so I have to deal a lot with like machinery, equipment kind of
Mm,
companies, and like really hardcore industrials. I mean, I love it and all, but when it came to like environmental industrial technology,
mm,
I saw that my interest peaked so much more than just industrial overall because it aligned with my passions and when I believe in being like an environmental, not like an aspiring environmental.
Yeah.
And so I realized, okay, well, like I do like this experience. I'm happy for it, but I'm definitely gonna go down a realm of an environmental investing. So it did help
Awesome.
me to figure that out.
Yeah, and like that's what's so great about internships and externships and first jobs outside of college is that you kind of figure out more about your passions. I mean, that's the another reason for college too is like, all right, kind of figuring out what major that you want to do, what type of classes, and so obviously. Environment is really important to you to where you're like, all right, you can honestly combine both your skill set, but then also your passion with one and the other. So, what a wonderful and useful thing to get out of an internship. So, that's awesome, Kelly.
Yeah, yeah. The exposure from university and like internships in general just really form your personality and
Yep.
really like define who you are, and you really get to know that like you as a person, and like that's just invaluable.
Yeah, well, awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and wish you the best of luck as you continue on your journey.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see ya.
Bye.